Welcome to Amy Learns to Cook. I'm Eric, and on today's show, we're going to do a water test of the Foodi. When you use a pressure cooker for the first time, you should do a water test because that just helps make sure that the thing is venting properly and sealing on stuff. And you don't really want to do that with food, right? You want to do it when it just has water in there. So that's why the manufacturer always tells you to do it right away. Since we haven't really used it, this is a good time to do it. Plus it tells you how to use it and everything. So join me as we do a water test on the Ninja Foodi. For those of you who are just tuning in, this is a Ninja Foodi, which differs from an Instant Pot or an Insta Pot.
Not Insta.
Insta. Hey,
Instant.
Of course it's instant. It says so on the thing and on the box. But for those people who throw the box away, read the dang thing. But if you still want to call it an Instapot, and that's all you go by, fine. But an Instant Pot is just a It's just it's a pressure cooker. The Ninja Foodi is a pressure cooker and an air fryer. But like the Instant Pot, you should do a water test the first time you use it, just to make sure it works and everything and that you know how to use it. So that's what we'll be doing. And just for you guys who do or don't know, this top lid is the air fryer. We're not going to be touching this guy today. He won't remove, so he just stays in the upright position. It's this guy we're going to be dealing with today. The one thing I want to point out real quick, just to make sure in case you're not aware, is this little guy on the side. This is like a condensate or catcher. Whenever you're venting and stuff and you've got, moisture going, it's going to get caught in this little guy. By default, they put a lot of tape on it, but you really need to make sure it's there. So you can take it off, wash it, all good stuff, and put it back in place. So just make sure he's always in place, or else you might find some water all over your counter. So first thing I want to show you is this lid here, right? It's pretty easy to take on and off. We just take this part here, where it's got this part here, opposite of this guy. So in other words, when you look at this guy, he's got the two parts, right? You got the vent part, and then you have the opposite end. The opposite end is going to face the controls. Now they talked about, I don't know, some sort of dots or arrows. I've yet to see them, so maybe someday I'll find them. But for the most part, we'll just put this guy down, facing the side of the control panel, and we'll turn it, I don't know, away from me. I guess it's clockwise, and then as long as he lines up there, that's good. And then the vent is going to line up directly over the area where I showed where the little condensate catcher is. That's where it needs to be. You go the opposite way, it'll never lock in place. So that's step one. So we're going to go ahead and do the water test now. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to remove the lid. We're going to put in 3 cups of water into the pan there. We are going to make sure that we've got the little gasket in place here, right? And we got that little guard guy, he's in place. And we're just going to go ahead and put the lid on here, a little cockeyed. And then he should slide in. All right, we have the water in there, so let's go ahead and plug it in. Deet. Let's go ahead and hit pressure once, twice. Now it says high, which is good. And now we're going to bump the time up. We need it for about 2 minutes. And then we're going to hit start. We also are going to make sure that this vent over here is on seal. This has 2 positions. One is over here on the side here where it says vent. That's how we're going to release pressure. Right now we want to build pressure. So we move it towards seal. So it's over here. So we have seal and vent. It's not much of a difference, but that's all they give us. So it's over there. And as you can tell, we have no pressure yet. So this little guy, he's down. So at some point he will come up, and then the countdown for the 2 minutes will begin. A little more steam. And there we go. He's sealed, it's quiet. So even though the little guy on the top is sealed, it's now continuing to come up to pressure. And once it's reached the pressure it's supposed to be at, this little guy will stop doing circles, and he'll start the 2-minute countdown. And there's our 2-minute countdown, and he's counting down. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right, the 2 minutes is up. It says done. And now it's doing the keep warm. And then now it's doing a count up to show you how long it's been keeping warm. So it's now time to release the pressure. So we're going to go ahead and turn this guy off. And I'm just going to go ahead and unplug it. All right, we're getting ready to release pressure. Right now it's over here on the left by where it says seal. And you push it over there towards vent. And you can see it's releasing at a pretty good rate, and it's going to take a while. No, what? I don't know. I think that's about all you're going to do. It won't go any further. Sometimes when it's loose, you might be able to get it further over here towards the vent, and then it might release more, but that's kind of not safe because it's very hot. Even with silicone gloves on, I still can't really wiggle it all that well unless I tilt it like that, and it still doesn't really release much more. So that's about as much it'll do. So we've had other pressure cookers like the Instant Pot, which releases at a crazy rate that even scares Amy. This guy's a lot more mellow. It didn't take him long to come up to pressure. He didn't really release a lot of steam while he was coming up. And now that we're trying to release, he's kind of slow about it. So the Instant Pot, especially the Ultra, we saw it takes about 2 minutes. The Duo was a little quicker. This guy's been going now for a little bit. He looks like he's almost out of steam. So I'm expecting, oop, and there we went. That little guy dropped down. That means we can now open this. Ooh. And there you go. And now, oops. And Amy explained that. Make sure when you open this that you gotta be careful. I just dropped a bunch of hot water on my arm. So if you're gonna do that again here. All right, so if we open this up, release it like that, lift it up. That didn't seem right. It was a little clunky. Let's try this again here. Okay. Let's remove this guy. I'm slowly turning it away, and then now, because sometimes if you start tilting it too fast, you might get condensate dripping on your arm, and that's not good. Or like Amy was saying, if you open this and, I don't know, bring it towards you or something, you might let the steam hit you in the face. So I'm doing this for demo purposes sideways. So the steam's not going to hit me in the face, but I am susceptible to this other stuff getting me. So that's the basic water test. The thing worked okay. I did find out what arrows they're talking about and how to actually screw this on correctly. During the unboxing, the instructions mentioned there was arrows on both the lid and the cooker, and line them up, and then you twist, and that'll seal the lid. And I was having troubles because I didn't see what they're talking about. I've seen other cookers where they're like little red dots, and they make it really helpful. Here, the cooker and lid are both black, and so are the arrows. So if you're not really looking for them, you won't see them. For me, I need Captain Obvious to help me out. So for those of you who still haven't seen them, let me point out how to put this on properly. Okay, the way this lid goes on, first of all, we're not talking about the back end, which is where this guy is. He goes the opposite end of where the control panel is. So the opposite end is this guy. You see how we've got this little thing right there? That's the arrow they're talking about. He has to go with the matching arrow right there. That's where it starts, and then you twist this thing. So you go ahead and you put this down. the two line up, and then you should be able to twist it. Now this thing is warm, so it's having a hard time. So now it actually works. So you can release it and you can pick it up, and of course it's clunky. So I will say, to me, the Foodi is a little clunky. So hopefully people don't get upset at me for saying that. But as for a pressure cooker, this thing can be a little fun. I think when it's cold, it operates one way, but when it's a little warm, it's temperamental. So once again, we put this thing straight up and down with those two guys right there. We turn, and it's locked. That's as simple as it is. It's just when you take it the other way to remove it, it might grab the pan. Now maybe if the pan is full of food and stuff, that's not an issue. But when it's empty right now, guess what? It just picked it up, doink, and just dropped it. So I don't know if they have an answer for that. So for demo purposes, it's a little clunky. Maybe when we actually have a chicken in here, it'll behave a little better. Okay, so hopefully you learned a little bit about the Foodi doing the water test. So we found out what they mean by lining up the arrows to get the lid on. So hopefully you're not like me trying to test this thing 8,000 times until it works. And hopefully you've learned how to do the test. You've watched the operation of this little red thing popping up and down, how to operate the seal and the vent to make sure that all works, and all that good stuff. So that was pretty much the purpose of this video. So hopefully you learned that and that was good. All right, if you liked this video, please subscribe below, give us a comment and a like, and visit us at amylearnstocook.com. We're also on Pinterest and Twitter at Amy Learns to Cook, and we're on Instagram at Cooking with Amy.